Howdy y'all, S-Rod here, and today I'm presenting over Socratic Seminar. I'm going to round out the presentation by addressing how Socratic Seminar can be adjusted to the virtual environment. Socratic Seminar has its roots in the famous Socratic method. This philosophical form of education was predominant in classical education, and we still see this in many of our Ivy League educational programs, as well as law schools around the country. Even in modern educational courses, the use of Socratic Seminar aligns with educational philosophies of such figures as John Dewey, who advocated for the hands-on approach to learning, and Jean Piaget, whose theory of cognitive development again involves interacting with the environment, including questioning. Now, as you can see, there is a little prep, but it is minimal. Most of the prep deals with front-loading your classroom culture and environment in such a way that students feel that they can take the academic risks involved to make this activity effective. The first few times you might provide question stems for students, as well as teach them how to annotate texts for inquiry, and we're going to go over those question stems in a bit. One thing to bear in mind is that this does require the teacher to take a back seat. In other words, this is a student-centered activity. And if at first you don't succeed, try again. All too often in education, we have this really bad habit of throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Every activity isn't going to work perfectly the first time. For many students, we have to let them get used to the idea of participating in an interactive activity. The types of readings that you're going to select do have some requirements. First, you aren't going to use the Socratic Seminar on an entire novel or a whole unit of information. You might pull out a selection or a mini lesson. Keep the readings short, as in one paragraph to one page in length. The text selections also need to be open to some interpretation. Something that is just simply explaining the cell cycle or order of operations isn't appropriate for this activity, but something that asks, should we harvest stem cells? Or is a democratic government a model form of government? Does leave something open to interpretation. Even providing two paragraphs that offer differing views on an opinion or topic so that students see both sides of the argument is a great approach. Here I've offered some question stems that I pulled from the PDF that's linked at the bottom of the page in the shortened URL, as well as by the QR code. By providing something like this for students, it might ease some of the anxiety of not knowing what to say or what to ask. This could be something that you start with and slowly filter out. As a moderator or facilitator for this activity, you won't want to jump in and ask the questions for the students, but when there is a silence, you could direct them to this list. Note that here again, I'm stressing that you are not leading this activity. You are simply facilitating it. You are a moderator, not a director. I've included in this slideshow a link to a video of Socratic Seminar in action. It is about 7 minutes long, so I won't play it all here, but I wanted y'all to have a visual of what it looks like in action. Something to notice about the classroom is the layout of the desks. He has a larger class, so he does utilize an inner and outer circle. This is also great for kids that you know that might not be ready to participate in the inner circle, but I would have some kind of a tracking method to ensure that students don't always sit in the outer circle, as well as don't always sit in the inner circle. Notice also he uses a variation of talking chips so that certain students don't dominate the conversation. This is a great strategy for other small roundtables in the classroom as well. He uses dinosaurs, but of course you can use a variety of small items that you wouldn't mind replacing occasionally. They do have a tendency of walking off. Of course, there are other strategies and classroom techniques the teacher uses that are also great. The video is a live link, so since you have access to this Google slide, you can watch the video at your leisure and observe this teacher's use of Socratic Seminar in action. I'd like to address how to implement a Socratic Seminar in a virtual environment. This is clearly a discussion model that involves analysis and discussion. How can this be moved into a digital format? Let's investigate two different methods. One method of utilizing a digital Socratic Seminar is asynchronous. This is the ubiquitous discussion board. Now, discussion boards have become notorious in education and have almost the connotation of a curse word. Just hang in there with me and keep an open mind. When given clear expectations and a rubric, discussion boards can be great springboards for thought. If you give a question for discussion that has a very cut and dry answer, you're going to get 20 variations of the same answer, and it becomes difficult and very frustrating for the participants to reply without being repetitive or inanely saying things like, I agree. As the facilitator, your responsibility is to develop thought-provoking, inquisitive, open-ended prompts that allow for students to expand upon that line of thinking and develop discussions with each other. Once again, you'll be a facilitator by opening the discussion board and listing the prompts, topics, or readings, but you will seldom interact. This is a student-centered activity. Another method of digital Socratic Seminar is synchronous. This is very much like the classroom Socratic Seminar, but held through a video hosting platform such as Zoom or Skype. Again, clear expectations are a must. Students must understand how they are expected to chime in and how often, as well as what constitutes off-topic remarks. It's a little harder to implement a strategy such as talking chips in this instance, but a tally system, perhaps in the messages panel, might be beneficial. This is another great opportunity to provide students with sentence stems. These stems can extend the conversation even further. And that's in essence what the Socratic Seminar is designed to do. Extend conversations, dig deeper, develop understanding. Thanks, y'all. If you have any questions, shoot them at me in the comments section or find me on Twitter at srodscience. I look forward to hearing from y'all. Adios.